Before we begin, I just want to remind you that this guide is meant to get you to learn the encounter to do it solo, but also to teach you how to play it in case there are teammates present. This is why we don't blink towards objectives to force lure teleports. Nor do we do any try-hard tricks that require more advanced knowledge beyond what you should know about the run.
To secure and employ additional Eidolon moves.
Today we're talking about doing Tridolon solo. We're doing this with Trinity. Let's get to the build. We use Deadeye for our aura for bonus sniper rifle damage. Primed Sure-Footed is there because this triple boss encounter will have a lot of knockdowns. However, Primed Sure-Footed won't protect you from the pushback that the Eidolon stomps do. If you don't have Primed Sure-Footed, Handspring will do. We're using Adaptation over Rolling Guard because the damage reduction lasts longer, and because you'll be spamming Blessing, you'll hardly take any lethal damage that would require you to shield gate anyway. Having said that, I still slotted in Primed Redirection in case I mess up my Bless rotation. Moving on, we have Primed Continuity to increase the duration of Roar and Blessing. We added a Primed Flow for more energy because of skill casting rotation. We will be casting Blessing, Roar, and Link a lot, so we need a large pool. We're also using Blind Rage for strength in tandem with Umbral Intensify to bring us over 250% power strength, and that leaves these two slots. These two are flexible slots. You can put anything there, but as for me, I like to use two augments. Because we subsumed Roar over Well of Life, I used Piercing Roar. This forces Roar to be recastable, and it's the only reason we're using it for this run. As of the production of this video, Roar isn't recastable, so we're adding this mod for some quality of life. Champion's Blessing is a huge help because it gives you crit chance per percentage of health you heal from your allies and yourself, which caps out at 350%. Lures and your companion are counted as allies. As for the Arcanes, we got Arcane Rise for the 150% damage on our primary when we reload. An Arcane Nullifier, because every single Eidolon we'll go up against has some sort of magnetic effect. The water has a magnetic effect, and it will be extremely annoying to get silenced every time. For our primary, we're going with Lanka. You can go with any sniper rifle, but Lanka is my personal choice. This is the build. As you can see, no fancy galvanized mods or anything like that because those require us to ramp up the kills. For the Tridolon runs, we need the big hard numbers right away. There's no room to ramp up. So we got Split Chamber for multi-shot, Point Strike for crit chance, Serration for damage, Vital Sense for crit damage, Hellfire and Stormbringer for radiation. Whatever sniper you decide to use, mod for radiation. Some of you may contend that stripping armor negates the damage buff provided by radiation, but that's easily accounted for with the presence of Deadeye, Roar, and if you're lucky, Arcane Rise. Eidolon armor is weak against radiation, so we're using the damage boost from Deadeye to stack with the damage boost from the element. This is useful if we're unable to strip the armor properly. This is especially important in the last Eidolon. I'm also using Vial Acceleration for fire rate. Fire rate is extremely important with the Lanka because it's a charge weapon. Don't worry about the reduced damage. We'll pick up that slack with Roar and Deadeye. And I'm also using a Riven. It's a CC CDMS Riven. If you don't have one, I made an alternative build. I replaced the Riven with Hammer Shot for more crit damage. For the Arcane, I'm using Crux mainly for ammo efficiency. And the Exilus slot has a terminal velocity, because Lanka is a projectile weapon. For the secondary, I'm using a Pyrana Prime, but any high fire rate secondary will do. The main purpose of the secondary is to get lures and break Voms. Because of that, the build isn't really important, but if you want to see it, here you go. For the melee, I'm using a Sarpa. I use this to fully strip the armor of the first two Eidolons and to reduce the armor of the third one. My main mod here is Shattering Impact. This is the only mod in this melee that is required. Everything else is just increasing the status weight of impact. For the vehicles, I use the Itzal. We're using this because of the third ability, which sucks up all the items within the area of effect. The build doesn't really matter because we're just using it for its third skill, but I'll show you my build anyway. For the companion, I have a Wyrm built for fire rate buffing. I slotted a calculated redirection to proc reinforced bond because, again, fire rate is important because we're using a charge weapon. I use tenacious bond as well for more crit damage. This only procs when the companion's CC is over 50%, so make note of that. The rest of the mods are just there for quality of life. Vacuum for resources, Guardian and Shield Charger for shield regeneration, and of course, Negate because why not? Duplex Bond also makes an appearance because I couldn't slot anything else there. For the companion weapon, we're using the Vulklok for the high crit rate in order to activate Tenacious Bond. Here's the build. Make sure to pack some ciphers and some energy restores as well. For the operator, we're using an amp with the 577 Cantic Prism, Propa Scaffold, and Certus Brace. But if you're not quite maxed with Vox Solaris yet, you can also use a Klebrick, Lauren, and Ron amp, all of which are available in Onkko's shop. Of course, you can use the 777 Clamora, Propa, and Certus, because that's the meta, but for me, I like the Cantic Prism, so we'll be using that for the video. If you aren't familiar with these numbers, here's the amp chart for your reference. For the Operator Arcanes, I'll be using Magus Husk and Magus Vigor. Vigor gives me 600 health and Husk gives me 300 armor. For the Amp Arcanes, I use Eternal Eradicate for 60% additional damage on Operator abilities and Eternal Onslaught for 180% crit chance when my energy is depleted. You can substitute one of these with Virtuous Strike, but this is the build I recommend. For the school, we will use Madurai. We'll use Void Strike and Contamination Wave. Void Strike consumes all energy and gives you bonus damage per energy consumed, which synergizes well with our Eternal Onslaught's crit buff. Contamination Wave buffs our damage when it touches the Eidolon's weak points. So juggling these two during the run is crucial. And that's it for the build. We'll be talking about the encounter next, but before that, I just wanted to say that we have more guides coming up in the next days. We're ramping up our production here in Four-Eyed Foundry, so if you want to see more of that, hit the subscribe button and make sure to like this video. Before we start the run, we need to talk about lures first. Lures are these things you see in Grineer camps at night. Their main purpose is tying the Eidolon down in order for it to be captured. Lures need to be charged in order for them to capture an Eidolon. You'll know a lure is charged if you see the shield turn blue. Lures have their own HP and shields, so if this goes to 0, they will perish. To get a lure, simply shoot one, hack it, and go. This is why I asked you to build ciphers earlier in this video. Remember that you'll need 2 charged lures for the Teralyst, 3 charged lures for the Gantulyst, and another 3 charged lures for the Hydralist. Lures are charged using Vomvalysts. Vomvalysts, or Voms, are these smaller Eidolons that heal the bigger Eidolons. They're found near water or near Grineer camps. You can force them to spawn by aiming down sites when you're about 150 meters away from their usual spawn sites. But to do this, you'll need to memorize where they usually spawn first. Again, they usually spawn near bodies of water or near Grineer camps. Keep aiming down sights and tap your forward button. Move closer and closer to the spawn sites until you see red arrows grouped in 2s in your minimap. Sometimes these are Voms, sometimes these are Kavats. Go to them and confirm. If they're Voms, destroy their shells and let the lures absorb them.
Adios!
Their spawn rate is shared with animals in the plains, so if you have a hard time spawning them, your next best bet is to break the Eidolon's shields and attack it with your secondary. This will force Voms to spawn nearby, and you can use that to charge your lure. Okay, that's pretty much it for the basics. Let's do one full run. We need to move fast because remember that we only have about 50 minutes to do this. I know it says that night lasts for 1 hour, but with all the walking and how long this damn door takes to open, you only realistically have 50 minutes to do a triple Tridolon run. The moment you hop out the door, look for a lure. Remember that they're located in Grineer camps, and basically anywhere Grineer gather. We're charging this one lure because if we grab more than one, the other lures will take some of the Vom charge away, therefore taking them much longer to charge.
Shit's getting real! Flatline.
Once the shield is blue, go to the Grineer bases and get more. Get at least 4. We'll charge the rest while we're attacking the boss. Once you're at the boss's feet, go to operator mode, cast your first skill, and shoot the boss.
Sure thing.
It shouldn't take more than 2 shots to deplete the entire shield pool if you built your operator and your amp the way I did. After this, go back to your Warframe, switch to your primary, and proceed to shooting the weak points. Let's pause for a second. Weak points look like these ribbed things around the Eidolon. I want to talk about the sniper rifle's HUD. Here, you'll see a marker telling you the distance to your target, as we've mentioned before, when we're forcing the Voms to spawn. I also want to focus on this part, and this part. This is a zoom buff. Each zoom level also has a corresponding buff to one of the sniper rifle's stats. In this case, crit chance. So we want to be shooting the Eidolon's weak point at the highest possible zoom level. Also, there's this, the shot combo, which gives the sniper rifle a bonus to the total damage for successfully hitting shots. This is also affected by multi-shot. The first Eidolon has 4 weak points, 2 in the arms and 2 in the knees.
That device is insufficient. You are directed to secure and employ additional Eidolon lures.
After shooting the weak point, the boss is knocked down, it screams, and the shields will heal. As it's getting up, go back into your operator and cast your second skill 3 times, wait a bit, and cast it a 4th time. This will ensure that your energy is drained, which procs Eternal Onslaught, giving us crit chance. The shields should still go down quickly. By the time you're ready for the next weak point, you'll see that our first skill has cooled down.
¿Qué onda? ¿Cómo has estado? How'd we do?
We can use it again to quickly destroy the boss's shields. That will be our rotation till the end of the run. Operator, first skill, 1 to 2 shots to deplete shields. Shoot the weak point. Operator, second skill 4 times to deplete energy while shooting the boss. Shoot the weak point. Operator, first skill, and so on. We're doing all this while making sure to get in at least 5 full rounds of Sarpa shots onto the Eidolon. It doesn't matter if the damage is gray. All that matters is the shots hit the Eidolon. This procs our shattering impact, reducing or even stripping the enemy armor. You can choose to keep some of the armor for more radiation bonus, or fully strip it for more raw damage bonus. Because you have Roar and Deadeye, you'll be fine either way. I do both fully stripping and not fully stripping in my runs. Also, make sure you're casting Roar for the damage buff and blessing, because we don't want any of the lures to die. Each time the weak points explode, the Eidolon also collapses. You can take this as a sign to go look for more Voms to help charge your lures. Once all the weak points are gone, it will collapse and go into the thrashing state, where it calls more Voms to go try and heal it. This is where we get the majority of Voms we can use to charge the other lures. Before the final damage phase, you need to hear Onkko say this.
Sentient energy contained. You are closing on victory. Act now.
Do not stray too far away from the Eidolon at this point, because if you do, the lures will release their grasp, and the Eidolon could end up being counted as a kill. Or worse, run away, therefore extending the encounter. Once this is over, we go to one last damage phase. Hit the Eidolon in the face for some headshots. When it gets to 0, the capture animation will play. The lures will explode afterwards, giving you the drops for this particular Eidolon. Cast Itzal's third skill to get everything and rush toward the center of the lake. We slot in a Radiant Eidolon shard in the altar at the center of the lake here to summon the next boss, while the summon animation is playing rush toward the nearby camps to get more lures. Get 2 if you can, but 3 would be ideal. This one has 6 weak points, 2 at the arms, 2 for the knees, and it has another 2 at the back. It's pretty much the same process. We still have charged lures from the first encounter, and those 2 should be enough to hold the Hydralist down till the thrashing phase. We proceed as usual, eliminating all weak points till it collapses and starts calling for help. The shot combo is the reason why I'm shooting the Eidolon, even if I'm still unable to damage it. Hits, not the damage, are what raise the combo counter. Once that gray HP bar shows color, your bullets will start damaging the boss. We finish it off in the final damage phase, use Itzal's third skill, go back to the middle of the lake where we summon the Gantulyst, and grab a couple of extra lures.
Easy kill.
This Hydralist Fight plays similarly to the Gantulyst. It also has 6 weak points all in the same locations. But it summons these raindrops that damage everything in the area of effect. Plus, during this phase, Vom Blooms appear. They're these purple clouds of energy that make Voms invincible. When you see them, destroy them along with any Voms that spawn. Then, it's pretty much just the process of eliminating all weak spots, going into the thrashing phase, and proceeding into the final damage phase, while making sure that there are no Vom Blooms nearby.
Enemies feeling ballsy. Just don't crash. I don't want to have to set my own bones.
As you can see, one run against 3 Eidolons took 17 minutes, but that included waiting for nightfall in the plains so the full run could be shorter. Also, this was done without using any exploits, macros, or strategies that are meant to speed up the run. Projecting this forward, it's possible to do this 3 times in 50 minutes or less. If you need video proof, I recorded the full run, and you can watch it by clicking the card. And if you need more guides like this one, don't forget to like and subscribe.